My wife blamed her zodiac sign for cheating, so I divorced her and rebuilt my life. My wife of 7 years, Vanessa, asked for a $100,000 beach vacation to clear her head after I caught her cheating in our bed. She blamed me, her Leo zodiac sign, and everything but herself. I was a fool, begging her to stay, until a friend sent me photos of her with the same guy, living it up in Cancun. I sold her car, filed for divorce, and changed the locks. Here's how I went from a broken man to reclaiming my life and how her lies unraveled. I'm Jake, a 34-year-old truck driver from Ohio. I've been hauling freight across the Midwest for over a decade, working 14 to 16-hour days to keep the bills paid and food on the table. My life's not glamorous. Long nights on I-70, greasy diner coffee, and a sore back from a worn-out driver's seat, but it's honest work. I run my own small trucking company, just me and 2 other drivers, leasing a couple of rigs to move auto parts for factories. It's grueling, but it keeps the lights on in our 2-bedroom house in Dayton, a modest place bought 6 years ago when the market was soft. I'm not a flashy guy. My splurges are my 2015 Ford F-150, customized with a lift kit and a throaty exhaust, and my mutt, Diesel, a scrappy lab mix who's been my road buddy since I found him abandoned at a truck stop 4 years ago. Diesel rides shotgun on short hauls, head out the window, tongue flapping like he owns the highway. He's loyal, no drama, just pure companionship, unlike my soon-to-be ex-wife, Vanessa. Vanessa, 32, is a Leo. Her words, not mine. She's been shouting about her fire sign energy since we met at a dive bar in 2016. I was 27, fresh off a long haul, nursing a beer when she strutted in, all confidence and glittery eyeliner. She was a bartender then, with a laugh that could light up a room and a knack for charming tips out of truckers. She had this wild, magnetic vibe, long black hair, always in tight dresses, and a smile that made you forget your troubles. We hit it off fast, dated for a year, and married in 2018. I thought I'd found my ride or die. But Vanessa was a whirlwind. She loved parties, late nights, and blowing cash on $200 manicures and designer purses. I'd come home after a 15-hour run, dog-tired, and she'd be blasting music, planning her next girls' night out. "Jake, you're always working," she'd pout. "A Leo needs attention, you know." I'd try to make it up, cooking her favorite lasagna, buying her flowers, or planning a weekend getaway when I could swing it. But sex? After those long days, I was spent. I'd collapse on the couch, Diesel at my feet, and Vanessa would roll her eyes. "You're no fun anymore," she'd say, scrolling Instagram for her next outfit inspiration. For 7 years, I played the beta male, swallowing her complaints. She'd party until 3 a.m., come home smelling of vodka and perfume, and if I asked where she'd been, she'd snap. "Don't control me, Jake. My Leo spirit needs freedom." If she overspent on credit cards, it was "Leos are generous, okay? It's in my stars." If she forgot to walk Diesel, it was "I'm too fiery to be tied down to chores." I'd nod, too exhausted to argue, thinking I was keeping the peace. My dad, a retired mechanic, warned me early on. "Son, she's using you as an ATM. Watch your back." But I loved her. I thought love meant putting up with her Zodiac nonsense and wild streak. I wasn't perfect. Trucking meant I was gone a lot, sometimes overnight. I'd call her from the road, send her money for bills, and try to be the husband she wanted. But she'd throw tantrums if I missed her calls or didn't text back fast enough. "You're neglecting me, Jake," she'd scream. I'd apologize, send her $500 for a spa day, and promise to do better. Looking back, I was a doormat, letting her walk all over me while I hauled freight to keep her in Gucci. Everything changed last year. My company landed a sponsorship from a big auto parts supplier in Columbus. They offered to lease me 2 new rigs and cover half my fuel costs. A game changer. It meant I could hire another driver, cut my hours, and spend more time at home. I was thrilled. Finally, I could be the husband Vanessa deserved. Maybe rekindle the spark we'd lost. I didn't tell her right away. I wanted to surprise her. On a Tuesday in June 2024, I finished a short haul early, home, by 4 p.m., a rarity. I stopped for her favorite wine and a bouquet of roses, imagining her face when I told her about the sponsorship. I walked into our house, Diesel bounding to greet me, but something felt off. The living room was a mess, empty wine glasses, takeout containers, and Vanessa's heels scattered on the floor. Then I heard it, giggling from our bedroom. Heart pounding, I pushed the door open. There was Vanessa in our bed, tangled up with some guy, tattooed, shirtless, with a smug grin. They froze when they saw me. Vanessa gasped, pulling the sheets up. "Jake, what are you doing home?" I stood there, roses in hand, feeling like the ground had vanished. "What am I doing? This is my house." My voice shook, but I didn't yell. The guy scrambled for his clothes, mumbling, "Yo, man, I didn't know," and bolted past me. Vanessa just sat there, mascara smudged, looking annoyed. I dropped the roses and walked out, Diesel trailing me. I drove to a truck stop, sat in my F-150 and stared at the dashboard for hours. My chest felt like it was caving in. 7 years of marriage, of grinding to give her everything, and she was in our bed with another man. I wanted to scream, to cry, but I just felt numb. That night, I crashed at my buddy Nate's place. Nate's a fellow trucker, the kind of guy who'd give you his last beer and not ask questions. I told him what happened, and he shook his head. "Man, Vanessa's always been trouble. You're too good for her." I didn't want to hear it. I still loved her, or at least the version of her I'd built in my head. The next morning, I went home to confront her. Vanessa was on the couch, scrolling her phone, wearing one of my old t-shirts like nothing had happened. "Jake, baby, you're overreacting," she said, voice syrupy sweet. "You're never home. A Leo needs passion, attention. You left me starving emotionally. This is your fault." I stared, dumbfounded. "My fault? I caught you with another guy in our bed." She burst into tears, dramatic sobs, clutching her chest. "I'm a Leo, Jake. I'm fiery, impulsive. I can't help it when you're gone all the time. I was lonely. You don't love me enough. You don't make me feel wanted. I made a mistake because you pushed me to it." She listed a dozen reasons. My long hours, my boring routine, my refusal to buy her a new car last year. She even said, "My horoscope warned me about neglectful partners this month." I felt my resolve crumbling. Her tears, her voice, it was like a spell. "I'm sorry," I yelled, I mumbled. "I don't want to lose you, Vanessa. Let's fix this." She sniffled, wiping her eyes. "I need to clear my head, Jake. A beach trip, somewhere like Cancun. It'll help me heal. But I need $100,000 to do it right. Flights, hotels, some retail therapy. You owe me that after making me feel so unloved." I was gutted, ashamed for raising my voice, for not being enough. I wired her the money, my entire savings from the sponsorship deal. She kissed my cheek, promised to think things over, and left for her trip 3 days later. I stayed home, feeding Diesel, hating myself for failing her. A week later, Nate texted me, "Jake, you need to see this." Attached were screenshots from Vanessa's Instagram close friends story, sent by her friend Kaylee, who'd always been straight with me. The photos showed Vanessa in Cancun in a barely there bikini, draped over the same tattooed guy from our bedroom. They were kissing, laughing, posing for sultry selfies by the ocean. The caption read, "Leo season baby, living my truth with my soulmate. No regrets." My blood ran cold. She'd lied again, using my money to party with her lover while I was begging her to stay. Kaylee called me, voice tight. She told everyone at the bar she's free now. Said you were controlling, holding her back. "I'm sorry, Jake, but you deserve better." The hurt turned to rage, then to clarity. Vanessa wasn't just cheating, she was a narcissist, spinning lies to dodge accountability, blaming her Leo energy for every betrayal. I'd been her doormat for too long. That night, I decided to end it. I went into what Nate called alpha mode. First, I called my lawyer, a no-nonsense guy named Carl who'd helped me with my trucking contracts. I laid out everything, the cheating, the $100,000, the screenshots. Carl was blunt. "Ohio's a no-fault divorce state, but we can protect your assets. Document everything." I canceled the joint credit cards Vanessa had been using, racked up $8,000 in charges for clothes and bar tabs. I owned our house outright, bought before we married, so it was mine. The car, a 2020 BMW X3 I'd bought for her 2 years ago when her old Civic died, was in my name too. Her credit was shot from maxing out cards on party dresses and VIP club passes, so I'd paid $35,000 cash to get her something reliable. She'd promised to pay me back eventually, but never did. I called a dealership and sold the BMW for $30,000. When the manager raised an eyebrow, I said, "She wanted freedom. I'm giving her 30,000 feet of it." Nate picked me up, grinning. "Man, you're finally waking up." Next, I hired a locksmith to change the house locks. $300 well spent. I packed Vanessa's stuff, 50 pairs of heels, designer bags, and a drawer full of Zodiac-themed jewelry, into boxes. I found her journal, listing pros and cons of me versus Troy, the tattooed guy. My pros: stable, pays bills, good with diesel. Troy's: hot, exciting, makes me feel alive. Her latest entry read, Jake's too boring, my Leo heart needs Troy. I also found $1,200 in cash taped under her dresser, probably her party fund. I left it in the box, let her have her blood money. Carl advised me to communicate only in writing, so I texted Vanessa, your stuff's packed. House and car are mine. Divorce papers are coming. Don't contact me. Vanessa's Cancun trip lasted 12 days. When she returned, I was at Nate's watching football with Diesel. My phone buzzed with her texts. Jake, my key doesn't work. Where's my car? What's wrong with you? I didn't respond. She showed up at the house, banging on the door, screaming. Nate insisted on coming with me for the confrontation. I opened the door halfway. Vanessa stood there, tanned and furious, in a crop top and sunglasses. What the hell, Jake? You changed the locks? Sold my car? You're ruining my life. I stayed calm. You wanted freedom, Vanessa. I gave it to you. Divorce is filed. Your stuff's in the garage. I showed her the screenshots from Kaylee. You and Troy look cozy in Cancun. On my dime. Her face crumpled, but not with guilt. More like a kid caught stealing cookies. That's not what it looks like. You're never home, Jake. You made me feel invisible. My Leo energy needs passion, and you gave me nothing. Troy was just a friend helping me heal. You pushed me to this. Nate laughed. Healing in a thong bikini with his hands all over you? Save it. Vanessa's sister, Lexi, appeared from her car, a carbon copy of Vanessa's entitled attitude. You're a monster, Jake, after all Vanessa's done for you. I raised an eyebrow. Like what? Maxing out my cards? Cheating in my bed? I pointed to the garage. Your stuff's there. Pick it up tomorrow noon, or it's donated. I shut the door. Vanessa's texts flooded my phone the next day. You're heartless. I'm a Leo. I make mistakes. Throwing away our marriage over nothing. Her mom, Diane, called sobbing. Jake, Vanessa's devastated. She's under so much stress. Her horoscope said this was a tough month. Can't you forgive her? I blocked them all. Nate and I dropped her boxes in the garage at noon. Vanessa, Lexi, and Diane showed up. Diane yelling, You're abandoning my daughter. She lived here rent-free, drove your car. How dare you? I smirked. Exactly. Free ride's over. They took the boxes and left, Vanessa glaring like I'd stolen her crown. The harassment didn't stop. Vanessa's friends called, saying I was cruel for stealing her car. Her Instagram was a circus of victimhood, betrayed by someone I trusted. Leos deserve better. Healing journey. No mention of Troy or the $100,000. Kaylee got fired from the bar after Vanessa accused her of sabotaging her life by leaking the screenshots. I called Kaylee, offering to connect her with a friend who owns a restaurant. You did the right thing, I told her. I've got you. Then Lexi keyed my F-150 in my driveway at 2 a.m. My security camera caught her, clear as day, scratching jerk into the hood. I filed a police report, and she was charged with vandalism, $1,500 in damages. My insurance covered it, but I upgraded to high-performance tires anyway. I moved my truck to a secure lot nearby. No way was I letting them touch my pride and joy. Troy emailed me, of all people. Man, I'm sorry. Vanessa said you two were done. She's been showing up at my place, drunk, begging to get back together. I'm out. Apparently, she'd lied to him too, claiming I'd kicked her out months ago. Bullet dodged for both of us. Vanessa's lies spread like wildfire. She told friends I was abusive, controlling her money, and trapping her. But the truth was undeniable. My neighbors saw me walking Diesel alone while Vanessa partied. My drivers knew she'd show up at my office, demanding cash. Kaylee and Nate backed me up, sharing screenshots of Vanessa bragging about living her best life with Troy. I filed for a restraining order, armed with a binder of evidence, texts, voicemails, security footage, and Kaylee's screenshots. The hearing was a spectacle. Vanessa played the victim, crying about how I'd ruined her. My lawyer laid out the facts, her cheating, the $100,000, the harassment, Lexi's vandalism. The judge granted a 3-year restraining order, no contact, 500 feet from me, my house, or my business. A month later, Diane called, begging for money. Vanessa's unemployed, Lexi's got legal fees, we're drowning. I laughed. You're violating the restraining order. This call's going to my lawyer. Vanessa lost her job. Skipping shifts for parties doesn't impress bosses. Her credit cards were maxed, and she was crashing with Diane, who was now fighting with her husband over Vanessa's drama. Troy blocked her after she showed up at his place, trashed. I sold the engagement ring, a 2-carat diamond I'd spent $12,000 on, and took a solo trip to Ireland. No Instagram posts, just me, a pint of Guinness, and green hills. Back home, I repainted the house, bought new furniture, and made it mine again. Diesel claimed the couch, tail wagging like he approved. My trucking business boomed with the sponsorship. I hired 2 more drivers, upgraded my rigs, and landed a contract hauling for a major car manufacturer. Nate and I started a weekly poker night, and Kaylee joined us, now dating one of my drivers. They're good together, no drama, just respect. At a trucking expo in Chicago, I met Lauren, a 30-year-old logistics manager who drives a vintage Jeep and knows her way around an engine. She asked sharp questions about my fleet's fuel efficiency, not just small talk. We swapped numbers, started texting about trucks, then life. She's independent, pays her own way, and scratches Diesel's ears just right. He brought her his squeaky toy the first time she visited. High praise from him. Last week, I took Lauren to my dad's for dinner. They talked diesel engines for an hour while I grilled burgers. Dad texted later, she's a keeper, smart as hell. Coming from him, that's gold. These past months broke me, then rebuilt me. I went from a beta male, begging Vanessa to love me, to an alpha who knows his worth. I learned to protect my peace, lean on real friends like Nate and Kaylee, and listen to my dad's wisdom. Vanessa's still out there, probably blaming Mercury retrograde for her mess. But me? I'm too busy building a life, hauling freight, riding with Diesel, and maybe, just maybe, starting something real with Lauren. Some lessons cost a fortune, $100,000, a marriage, a broken heart, but damn, they're worth every penny.